So the Wall Street Journal did the thing. I had this pet peeve when people talk about whether bills are going to pass or people are going to get confirmed. The only thing that matters is a whip count. And news organizations should spend a lot more time doing that if they want to inform their readers. The Wall Street Journal, again, put up the graphic, please, of the Journal. There you go. So the Journal says the senators to watch are Ernst, McConnell, Young, Murkowski, Collins, and the new senator like John Curtis. Young has been an under-discussed senator. He did not endorse Donald Trump. He does not give an F about what Donald Trump thinks. He's not afraid of being primaried. He's not worried about whatever. And I think it's important to say, despite what MAGA is saying about some of these senators, that they're advise and consent in the most idealistic way. They're trying to help the country and help Donald Trump not end up with bad cabinet officials. There's nothing in it for them. To the contrary, it is a negative for their careers. They'll take a ton of heat. Their families will take heat if they oppose the Trump nominee. They're not doing it out of spite. They're not doing it out of malice. They're not trying to trade anything. And I don't believe this is a complete list of senators who have doubts about Pete Hegseth's fitness for the job. But these are the people that Mar-a-Lago is watching. None of them have come out publicly against it, but all of them have some combination of the half dozen concerns that people have raised about Pete Hegseth. Dan.
Yeah, actually, it's a good tee up, Mark. Thank you, because obviously Democrats are not as important here, given they're in the minority, and you only need 50 votes. But I think it's important to step back and remember, as we're talking about the politics and the kind of strategy and the tactical nature of is he going to get over the line, that we're talking about a job that requires strategic judgment, sobriety of thought, discipline. And we're talking, there's the pushback here is more on the allegations of sexual misconduct. What isn't really being debated is that as a manager, his record of fiscal decisions leaves a lot to be desired, that on the issue of his sobriety, it doesn't seem to be a question that he has struggled with it. It's my understanding that he has made promises in private in these meetings with senators that he won't drink while serving.
Publicly, actually. Publicly.
Yeah, that people can decide whether that would, he'll honor that. Given his personal struggles, and we're all sympathetic with people who struggle with alcoholism. But if Kamala Harris had nominated an MSNBC host with this history of management, poor management, alcohol abuse, and then again, the sexual assault allegations may or may not be true, Republicans would be jumping up and down that this person would be the head of the Department of Defense with multiple live wars going on. So I think, Mark, to your point, there are Republican senators who have concerns that they think he might not be in the best interest of this country. And, it does deserve a hearing. And if he gets to a hearing answering questions about all of this, no one has disputed that stuff. It's been the allegations of misconduct with women, which is not something to minimize.
I want to make one quick point that I got asked about in the comment section a couple of times. When we talked about the Gates nomination, the allegations against Gates, and I guess the pushback against Gates, right? And this is the strategical piece of this. Matt Gaetz was facing personal issues and was having to fight back on personal fronts. Where the Hegseth team, and I pointed this out differently yesterday, was that what they tried to do is take the personal attacks against Pete and twist them into an attack on MAGA policies. You're attacking me. So someone was asking me what's different about the MAGA attack. It's Matt Gaetz is definitely more MAGA than Pete Hegseth, right? But the bottom line is that Pete and his team have twisted the personal attack into an attack on MAGA and its policies and its America First agenda, which is something that the Gaetz team did not do, maybe didn't have time to do. And frankly, sometimes you have the foresight of watching somebody else go first and go, okay, here's how we handle this differently. But it's a very different twist on this, because they realized if we make this about us and the attacks on us, we might lose. But if we can get the base rallied around it, that I am being attacked because of my policies, I think it's much more effective.
You're absolutely right. There are obviously other differences, including not everyone likes Matt Gaetz all that much, and he criticized senators, including by name. And Pete Hegseth on the Hill is either a not known or well liked. And the other difference is, like, Pete Hegseth really wants this, and I think I know there's some people in his world thinking about, is there a consolation prize? Is there some White House job or something else he could get that wouldn't require confirmation? Matt Gaetz he's like, every day is a new adventure. He didn't really care if he got the job, I don't believe, and he was happy to walk away from it. Hegseth seems now to basically have said, I've broken with Fox, although I don't know, he could go back to Fox, I
But wait,
suppose.
hold on. I think what you're saying, Mark, is so important for people to understand, because Matt Gaetz has a future. I mean, he's on. I mean, he can go do rallies and events. I mean, people want to
Yeah.
hear from Matt Gaetz as a
Yeah.
hero. And
Yeah.
Pete Hegseth has 7 children. At least from the reporting on Fox, when they refer to him, they say our former colleague. It would appear as though they cut ties
Yes.
with him. So
It
if
seems
he
that way.
ends up walking away from this, and how do you go back to your employer saying, hey, by the way, I know that I had all of these charges against me. Can you take me back? Right? Fox would have a hard time. And I would
Yeah.
hope they wouldn't. But my point is that when you're trapped like this and you have to go all in, that's a very different mentality.
Well, I think
100%.
it's, Sean, though, but to that point, the allegations are not sufficient to warrant employment at Fox, but they are sufficient to warrant employment running the Department of Defense.
No. I
Well,
just
no.
to be
I
clear,
know
though.
that's not what you're saying. I know that's not what you're
going
saying.
forward.
But
there's another difference.
that is remarkable.
Matt Gates's brand is bad boy. Okay, he said something like, I'm a representative, not a role model," or something like that. I forget the exact quote. Pete Hegseth's brand is, I found Jesus and I'm happily married, and all these things are in the past. He's going to have a much different brand. And I will tell you, I believe he's playing a little bit with fire, saying he welcomes an FBI background check. Not sure that's going to end happily for him. We'll see.